Tonali versus Guimaraes, the battle of the two Newcastle midfielders to join Manchester United. In this video, we'll have a separate conversation talking about Guimaraes, Tonali, what the news is, likelihood of them happening, and all the sort of jazz around that. So don't forget, drop a like, comment, and subscribe. So the news that's being reported, we start off chronologically. Bruno Guimaraes was the first player that's been linked for United, and he has been linked for a while. Now, the story that came out more recently was saying that Manchester United have a deal agreed with Newcastle for £80 million for Bruno Guimaraes, but Real Madrid being involved makes that a little bit difficult. Then in the background of that, you have Manchester United keeping tabs on Tonali and have high interest in the player as well. Now, what also come out and was being reported is that only one of those players will leave Newcastle this summer, and both camps, the Guimaraes and the Tonali camp, are doing everything they can to be sure that they are the first player to leave Newcastle, which doesn't sound good if you are Newcastle fans. Two of your best players arguably wanting to leave the football club. Now, so that's what's being reported there. United hold interest in both. Apparently, Wilcox is pushing the Guimaraes deal. Now, these are not only the two midfielders that we've been linked to, but these are the two that I want to have a conversation about. Who should Manchester United sign out of both of them? Now, we'll talk about Sandro Tonali first. He's 25 years of age, plays in the central midfield role for Newcastle, and is someone who is on the move. Arsenal was linked heavily in January on deadline day. And again, his heart apparently has been set away from Newcastle for a while. Now, in terms of Tonali, his price again is going to be £80 to £100 million. And with both of these players, it's going to be very difficult to deal with Newcastle. I don't remember the last time United signed a player from Newcastle. It's going to be very difficult to deal with them. Just look at how they dragged out the Isak saga last summer. Now, looking at Tonali, as I said, he's 25. I think he's got a contract until 2029. He is an A-tier midfielder. So is Guimaraes, to be fair. For me personally, I'll give you my judgment at the end. But there's so many qualities to admire of Tonali. He's good on the ball. He can win the ball. He might not score the most of goals, but I don't think that's what you're signing him for. He can dictate play from deep. He's got a great engine on him. His work rate fantastic. Again, though, the concern would be, is his heart set on a move to another club in the Premier League? I don't think so. I think all the reports are suggesting if he is to leave Newcastle, he would go back to Italy, with AC Milan being the main club. And that's something that is a concern. Again, you're going to have fierce competition, but in terms of profile, quality, experience, he's everything that you need. He's the right age as well. He'd be a perfect replacement for Casemiro. Now, talking about Bruno Guimaraes, he's a bit more experience. He's 28 years of age, and he's been at Newcastle for quite a few seasons. He's their captain, he's their leader. He probably is their most influential and probably best player, I'd say. I think he's someone where he's not in the team, you do see the impact. And again, he's someone that apparently has been linked with a move away, and United have been interested. Now, as I said, the story was that United do have an interest in Guimaraes, and that deal is close to being done. Now, what I would say about that, I don't think that story is true. It's coming from a credible source who actually confirmed the move from Lyon to Newcastle for Guimaraes, but I just think it's too early on. United are considering loads of options at the moment, and Guimaraes and Tonali are two players that are ahead of those options. Now, as I said, Guimaraes, he's someone who gets a load of goal contributions, which is something that potentially with Casemiro's leaving, you have to fill that void, and this Guimaraes that option. He's 28, so again, more experience. Probably if you can give us 4 or 5 years, that'd be something that's good. I think we signed Casemiro when he was 31 or 30, which again, those 2 years do make a difference. I think if you're looking long term, Tonali is obviously the better option, but you can see what United's strategy is here, and I think that's something that's interesting. We know last summer was the first real summer where United went out and got Premier League experience and a mixture of youth. You look at Ineos' first summer, Ugarte, Delete Mazraoui, Xerxes and Yoro. You look at the summer before, the summer after, last summer, Cunha, Mbeumo, Sesko, Lemons. Two very experienced attackers, and the attacking overhaul was needed. Now, I expect United to do the same in midfield, and that's why a lot of these players have been linked, and that's the strategy in which United are trying to go for, which I think is absolutely right. We've tried to bring in a lot of, I would say, learner drivers, players who could potentially go on to be the next best thing, and that just hasn't worked out. We've seen it with Anthony, Sancho, Højlund. Trying to think who else of recent that we've signed. But they are kind of the big three. Ugarte, if you want to put them into that bracket. Now, United have learned from those mistakes, which is good, and we fully focused on getting Premier League experience, which is good. There's no really adaptation to the league. Obviously, they will have to adapt to the team, but just what you're going to get from them. We slot them straight into that midfield, and I think that's something that United have to do. Now, again, in terms of my choice to kind of conclude the video, I will go with Tonali. I think Tonali is someone who is the complete midfielder. Not saying Guimaraes is not. He's just my preferred choice. I think he can operate a lot more deeper, which I think we need. I think we do need a box-to-box midfielder, but in terms of bringing in the number 6, Tonali is the one that I definitely go for. As I said, he's 25. I think you could be at the club for longer. You have to look at what his heart be set at the club. But if you look at impact, you look at energy, you look at passion, European pedigree, experience. Listen, if we're being honest, we take either one of those. I don't think if you say to any United fan, would you take one of Guimaraes and Tonali? I don't think any one of them would say no. They are two very high level midfielders. They would add a lot to this team. But again, there's other midfielders that we're going to be linked to. Anderson is apparently the main priority for Manchester United. Obviously, they can't get him. That's why we are linked to other options just in case. Wharton, someone who's been linked. Belabor, someone who I think definitely keep an eye out on, because I think he is someone, it's the quickest move to do to Manchester United. Then you have a broad option, Angelo Stiller, Edison, these sorts of players. Then you have more Premier League options, but more on the cheaper side of things. Andre Santos, Mateus Fernandes, João Gomez, Tyler Adams, Ethan Ampadu, these sorts of levels of players. So there's a load amount of players there. But in terms of Wilcox, apparently he is pushing for Guimaraes. I think he probably does see him as the perfect Casemiro replacement. Apparently Casemiro is kind of urging and pushing for Manchester United to sign Guimaraes, which is something that probably does make sense. I think Casemiro loves the club. He's going to want the best for the club. And is Guimaraes the perfect option? I mean, if you're going by Casemiro's word, probably yes. But you can let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who would you rather sign? Tonali, 25, obviously Newcastle defensive midfielder, or Guimaraes, Newcastle midfielder again, 28, the captain of Newcastle, and more of a box-to-box role. I think if we do sign Guimaraes, he would not be a competitor for Manu, and I don't think if we do sign Guimaraes, you don't play him as a number 6. So there is that sort of problem there. But let me know your thoughts. Peace.